Welcome to this session on Relational Database Management System. My name is Ashish Jain. I'm an assistant professor at the Department of Computer Science and Application at the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. We are continuing with our ongoing session on the topic Functional Dependency. This is the part 2 of our module on Functional Dependency. This is a brief outline of this module. We start with the attribute closure in Functional Dependency. We will see Armstrong axioms. We will see different types of axioms that we have and how we should prove equivalence of functional dependencies. So let's begin. To recap, a functional dependency, say A tends to B, is a relation that holds if two tuples having the same value for the attribute A also have the same value for attribute B. For example, this is a student table. In this relation, we have different values. We have functional dependencies like student number tends to student name, student phone depends on student number, etc. So if we consider that these two functional dependencies hold, so we have another functional dependency, student name and student state, which do not hold because state does not depend on the name of the student. Now we come to a topic called functional dependency set. It is a set of relations which comprises of the set of all functional dependencies present in a relation. So what all functional dependencies can be possible in a relation, the set of all these dependency is called a functional dependency set. For example, in our example we have different types of columns, so each column value may have a relation with another column value. So we have student number to student name, student number with student phone number, and so on. So this set of all the dependencies that exist between different elements of this table is known as functional dependency set. Next we come to attribute closure. We represent attribute closure by F plus. If F is a closure of a set of dependencies, say capital F, its attribute closure is represented by F plus. It is a set of all the attributes that are functionally dependent on the attributes of F. This is a very fundamental basic concept in database design, which is used to ensure the consistency of the data as well as normalization by identifying which attributes are dependent on others within a relational database schema. Schema means the design. So we say that the closure of a set capital F of functional dependencies is a set represented by F plus. It is a set of all the FDs or functional dependencies that can be inferred from F. Now, how do we find attribute closure? These are some rules. The first rule is add the elements of the attribute set to the result set. Result set is the set of attributes that we are forming for finding the attribute closure. Next, add the elements to the result set which are functionally determined from the result set recursively. So what all result sets we have in the previous set, we recursively use it to add more elements into that set. Let us take an example. For example, we have a student relation with these details with us. Here, in this relation, the attribute closure of ID column, say ID plus, is represented. From ID, we can determine the name. If we have the ID, we can determine the age. If we have the ID, we can determine the state, address, and all other fields, right? So the ID plus or the attribute closure of this field comprises of itself, that is ID, then the name, age, state, country. Similarly, if we take state, so state is determines the country also, right? So we have state, that is itself, as well as the next element, which is the country. So in a attribute closure, every single column or single attribute is a closure of itself. Next we comes to Armstrong axioms. These Armstrong axioms are introduced by William W. Armstrong in 1974 in order to test the logical implication of functional dependencies. It provides a very easy method to solve functional dependencies and come to a conclusion. Armstrong axioms are sound in generating only the functional dependencies in the closure of a set of functional dependencies, which we have seen before. It's denoted by F plus. Here, there is a broad classification of Armstrong axioms or Armstrong rules. They are classified into primary rules and secondary rules. The primary rules are again of further types such as reflexive, augmentation, and transitive. Similarly, the secondary rules are further classified as decomposition rule, union rule, and pseudo-transitivity rule. Let us see them one by one. So we can say that an inference rule is basically an assertion that we can apply to a set of functional dependencies to derive another functional dependencies. Here the basic inference rules are called Armstrong axioms. Let us see them. So if we have, say, capital X, Y and Z with the three set of attributes in the same relation, say capital R, then the basic inference rules are: first, reflexivity. That is, if we have X tends to Y and this Y is a subset of X, we say that this is reflexive rule. Second, augmentation. If we have a functional dependency X tends to Y and we say that X of Z functionally determines Y of Z. That means on the right side we have added a new functional dependency element which is Z on both the sides. This is called augmentation. We can also add it to the left side, but left side on both the sides. Then we have a transitive rule which says that if we have two functional dependencies such that we have X tends to Y and we have Y tends to Z, then from this we can infer that we have X tends to Z. This is called transitivity. Let us see them through an example. We have this table. With this reflexive rule we say that since we have a relation having social security number, F name, L name, department number and department name, right? Here, since F name is a subset of a bigger set which comprises of two elements, F name and L name, then we say that F name comma L name determines the F name. This is by rule of reflexivity, that is Y is subset of X, then we say that X determines Y or X tends to Y. This rule says that if I see F name as a John and L name as Smith, so in some tuple, then we also have same value for F name John in that tuple. Second, augmentation rule. It says that if we have a production of the form X tends to Y, we also have XZ tends to YZ. From this example, we can see that since department number tends to department name, so we can say that a set department number with L name determines department name with L name. A department number with L name determines department name with L name. Here we have added this L name as a right element of both. So this is augmentation rule. The third rule is transitivity. So if we have X tends to Y and Y tends to Z, then we say that we have X tends to Z. Let us see how. So we have SSN number tends to department number and department number tends to department name. From these two we can say that SSN number determines department name, which is true, right? So this is transitivity. Apart from these normal rules, we also have additional rules or secondary rules, which are first the union rule, which says that if capital P holds Q, or we say that P tends to Q, and capital P holds R or P tends to R. So from both these we can infer that if we combine them together, that means we make a union of them, we have the relation P tends to Q R. That is, if X tends to Y and Y tends to Z, since the left hand side part is common to both, we can combine them together as X tends to YZ. The second rule is composition. It says that if we have P holds Q, that is P tends to Q, and A holds B, A tends to B, then by combining these two together, we have P of A holds for Q of B. PA tends to QB. This is called composition. Next is decomposition. It is a kind of opposite of composition. This is opposite of union rule, not the composition. So we have P tends to QR, then P holds Q. From this we say that P holds R. Let us see them. If we have X tends to YZ, we can decompose them into two productions. First, X tends to Y, and second, X tends to Z. And the last rule is pseudo-transitivity. It says that if we have P tends to RQ and Q tends to S, so in place of this we can simply say P tends to RS. Instead of Q, we have used its production Q tends to S and replace it with the value of S. Now, The next topic is equivalence of functional dependencies. The equivalence of functional dependencies means that to determine whether all the functional dependencies existed for the relation are equal or not. For that, for checking the equivalence, we take a relation with different functional dependency sets of that relationship and then check whether one functional dependency is a subset of other or both are equal. So how do you find it? Consider we have two set of functional dependencies S1 and S2 for the same relation capital R. If all the functional dependencies of S1 can be determined from functional dependencies present in S2, we conclude that S1 is subset of S2. If all the FDs of S2 can determine from the FDs that are present in S1, we conclude that S2 is subset of S1. So from both of these, first and second, we can conclude that it is only possible when S1 and S2 both are same or equal. Let us take one more example. Suppose we have a relation capital R having the values or the columns as A, B, C and D. It has two functional dependency sets. First S1, which comprises of A tends to B, B tends to C, AB tends to D. And second S2, which is A tends to B, B tends to C, A tends to C and A tends to D. Now we begin with the first step, checking whether all the FDs of set S1 is present in the S2. If we check that, we have a functional dependency A tends to B in S1, it is also present in S2. Similarly, B tends to C, it is also present in S2. AB tends to D is present in S1, but it is not in S2. So we have to check whether we can derive it or not. Directly it is not available. So in set S2, if we take a closure of AB, it is A, B, C and D. It means that ABCD can be determined functionally from AB, which implies AB tends to D holds true for the set S2. Now, as all the FDs in S1 also holds in set S2, we say that S1 is subset of S2, which is true. Second, we check for the S2. So checking all the FDs of S2 that are present in S1. First, we have A tends to B, yes it is present. B tends to C, it is present. A tends to C is present in S2 but not in S1. So we have to check it. Again, we have the closure of A, which is A, B, C and D, which means that it can be determined functionally from capital A, which implies that A tends to C also holds in set S1. Again, A tends to D, we find that yes, it can be functionally generated or implied. So we have this as well. So from this we conclude that since all the FDs of S1 can be determined in S2 and all the FDs in S2 can be determined in S1, hence they are equal or equivalent. Let us see what we have covered in this topic so far. So we have learned about, again, a recap of functional dependency. We have seen the attribute closure in a functional dependency. We have seen different axioms in functional dependencies and also how we check for equivalence of functional dependency. I hope this session is beneficial for you in understanding functional dependency better. Thank you for joining.